presentation of the Nightingale Award at the dedication ceremony is intentional for its association of an inspirational former student of Kettering College with the dedication of a new cohort of promising nurses. This hope is that the Kettering College Division of Nursing will never cease to mold, nurture, motivate, inspire, and produce nurses who can rise to ideals of our first director, Anna Maevon, and the lady with the lamp, Florence Nightingale. The Nightingale Award goes to an alumnus or alumna of Kettering College Division of Nursing who has done the following: practice the nursing profession faithfully, elevated the standard of the nursing profession, devoted oneself to the welfare of those committed to his or her care, sought to further the mission, values, and goals of Kettering College Division of Nursing, preferably someone who has also served the Division of Nursing in a number of other ways. I would like to announce that this year's Nightingale Award winner is Mr. Chad Ford, and I would like to invite him up to receive the award and read a small bio about him. Is Chad here? Hey, Chad. Here he comes.
Sure.
Okay, go for it.
I wrote this bio months ago, but it's very clear to me. So I always knew while growing up that I wanted to do an occupation that involved service toward others. I chose the medical field, and nursing became my final decision in my last year of high school. Personally and my family, life events pointed me toward nursing. Even in our final graduation, we gave gifts to each other. And so the students in my class gave me a scrub top that said Chad Ford, RN. I can recall, through the personal life events, I had asthma as a kid, and I had multiple asthma attacks, and I was ambulanced to Dayton Children's multiple times. I also had grandparents who developed COPD and were debilitated gravely by it. I never wanted to feel like a helpless child like I did in the past from those events. And when I'd see sick people at their worst, I wanted to be able to help them. Nursing would teach me then the widest toolbox of skills to serve and help others. When I graduated from Kettering College with my nursing license over 10 years ago, it felt like fate when I started my nursing career on 5 South Med-Surg Pulmonary Unit at Kettering main campus in August 2011. I grew up strongly believing in empathy toward others. My connection with empathy ties into the holistic perception of patient care and teaching. I wanted to see students and patients empowered through actions and education. Empowerment elevates self-confidence and starves helplessness. I was a very shy and always been introverted person, especially as a nursing student back in the day, still learning. I'm sure many of you felt that way too when you are learning a new trade in a very vast world. But back without any previous medical job experience was also under my belt. All I had done was worked at the college bookstore and been a grader at the high school. I freshly recall the nerves and emotions I had and framed it into a mental collage in my head. I almost didn't pass my first semester of nursing. And I left it up to God. If I put in the work, then He will lead me on. These memories help me with how I approach teaching students and the strategies. Since joining Kettering College as a clinical instructor since January of 2019, when I was approached by Professor Matisse, it has been a great pleasure for me to pass on all of my experiences and knowledge onto a new generation of nurses. Former graduates I have ran into lately and before have remembered me as that one clinical instructor with the whiteboard, or my manic paranoid psych simulation patient attempting to elope from the sim lab.
Hello, I'm Dr. Paula Reams. I'm the Dean of Nursing at Kettering College. And there's a big paper up here telling me what to say about Anna Maevon and her award. But I actually knew Anna Maevon. I'm that old. She was the first director of nursing at the college, and I didn't know her back then. But she was asked to return in the 90s when we were having trouble finding someone to lead the division of nursing. And she came back, and she exemplified all of these things in the award that we're going to give today. She was always trustworthy. She was innovative. She had great ideas, even in her 70s. She was caring. She always had the student at the top of her list of who was most important. She was competent. She was also a midwife as well as an RN. And she loved to work with faculty and students. The award today of the person who receives the Anna Maevon Award exemplifies all of these things. She has been a staff nurse for quite a while. She was a faculty member at Kettering College, and I actually worked with her too. She's worked as the director at Kettering Medical Center, and she's also worked as an administrator in a neurology and practice. She has done tons and tons of volunteer work in the foundations at Good Neighbor House, American Heart Association, and Spring Valley Academy. The winner of the Anna Maevon Award today is Shelley Chew.
First, congratulations to all the graduates and the people receiving their pins today. 43 years ago, I was in your seat. It's hard to believe it's that long. And I guess the only message I would like to say is, whatever you do and wherever your career leads you, which I had no idea where my career would lead me. I thought I would be a bedside nurse until I retired. Always remember, the patient is who you're doing this for. So no matter if you're doing projects, if you're managing people, everything you do needs to keep the patient at the center of all your decisions. And that's led me through some amazing career, and I hope some good decisions in my life. And thank you for this award.
So our scripture today is from 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6 through 7. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you.
It is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for this morning, Stephen O'Neill. Mr. O'Neill has been a nurse for over 20 years. After almost graduating with an accounting pre-law degree, he realized the error of his ways and switched to nursing, graduating with an ASN from Southern in 1997, and then he finished his BSN at Florida Hospital College of Health Sciences. He started his career in the neurotrauma surgical ICU at a level 1 trauma center. From there, he worked his way up into an assistant nurse manager position before becoming the nurse manager of neuro ICU. In 2007, he was invited to interview for the chief nursing officer at Metroplex Hospital in Killeen, Texas. Since then, he has served as the CNO vice president of nursing for both private and public hospitals. Currently, Mr. O'Neill is the Chief Nursing Officer, Vice President of Nursing for Kettering Medical Center. Stephen O'Neill is a nurse's nurse. His excitement for nursing is palpable and energizes those around him. While he enjoys administration, his passion is still with patient care, and he loves to help out in the ED or on the floor every chance he gets. In his free time, Mr. O'Neill enjoys reading, woodworking, golfing, traveling, and spending time with his family, his beautiful wife Rachel, and 3 teenage children, Laurel, Lewis, and Nathan. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Stephen O'Neill.
Good morning. I thank my beautiful wife for writing up that intro. I'm going to tell you a secret. She doesn't like anybody to know that we're married, and she's one of your clinical and lab instructors. So it's just our secret today, okay? All right. Well, what an amazing and good-looking group of graduates. I am so impressed. You look so professional. In the famous words of Garmin, you have arrived. And I love how you've done your mortar boards. Now, back in my day in stone and chisel, we didn't decorate our mortar boards, but if I had, I may have put a sailboat on mine. After moving to Florida, my then new wife drugged me on our first family vacation to Michigan. I remember when she introduced the idea of going on vacation to Michigan as a wild and crazy, and what are you thinking? Why would we go to Michigan for vacation? But after spending a little time up in Mackinac Island and then in Charlevoix, I realized that she was right. That was the first of incredibly high number of times I've said she is right. But it did certainly awaken my commitment to doing something that I think has been always in my DNA, possibly from my Irish and Viking heritage, and that was my desire to sail. So what do you do when you have a commitment and you decide that you're going to do something? Is you've got to buy a book. And so I bought this book called Sailing for Dummies. Well, I studied that book. It's actually kind of a large book, and I probably should have taken note that Sailing for Dummies in a large book meant that it wasn't as easy as maybe I thought it was going to be. Well, what do you have to do next is I had to buy a boat. I remember looking in the one ads at the hospital where I worked and finding one, a Ghost 13. Probably should have also paid attention to the name of the boat when I bought it. Well, as luck would have it, and I'm sure each of you either have a sibling, a best friend, someone you grew up with. For me, it's my little brother who you can drag that will do anything with you, no matter how lame-minded or strange they might be. He came to Florida to visit with me, and I said, dude, I got this boat. I got this book. I think I can sail. What do you think? And what did he say? But let's do it. So we didn't live very far from Lake Ivanhoe. If you've ever been to Orlando, Lake Ivanhoe is right in the middle of town. It is actually a kind of a small ski lake. There's a lot of skiing that goes on there in Orlando. So we backed the trailer down. We put the boat in the water. I had my trusty book. I had my first mate. We put the boat in. We raised the sails. And then I remembered I needed to put the rudder on because you had to put it on. Maybe that was mistake number one, or possibly mistake number two, the first one being putting the boat in the water. But there we are. I'm facing backwards on the boat, trying to put the rudder in place on the pins. He's got the sails up. Mind you, he didn't read the book. The wind is blowing towards him. The sail is in front of him, is causing the boat to tip over, and he's holding on to what we call the main sheet, which is the line that pulls the sail taut against the wind that causes you to lean over more. And as he's leaning over, he's pulling on the rope and making us lean over more until, guess what? We are now in the water. I swear to this day that I felt the top of an alligator scrape underneath my shoes. I don't know that that was in fact the case, maybe just my overall fear, but we're in the middle of Lake Ivanhoe, probably a good 100 to 200 yards out, in the water. Go ahead. And lo and behold, we get our day in infamy. This is the Orlando Sentinel. We made it onto the front page of Section D. And it identifies just how that is. That lone soul in the water happens to be my little brother. As we are sitting out there floating, after all, I'm just a couple of years past where you are right now. I'm a nurse. I'm a fix-it guy. I was sure I could get that boat out of the water. Next. The good-looking fellow on your right would be me. As we held on to the now potentially sinking boat, and I am problem solving. And as luck would have it, you look to the skies, you say, Lord, help me. And lo and behold, he did. About 3 minutes later, when I heard the search and rescue helicopter flying over. And then I noticed the sirens. As the fire department, the police department showed up, I'm thinking, man, it's just my boat in the water. I'm okay. This is going to be embarrassing. So, as you can see in the photo, in fact, search and rescue did come out. They did haul us in. I was very worried about my boat. Super guys said, don't worry about your boat. We got to secure you first, but we'll come out and get your boat. And sure enough, they did. Today, you are embarking on your journey to being outstanding. Hopefully, your time doesn't start off with you almost sinking the boat, but today you are coming up to the dock. Today you have had outstanding education. You've had the opportunity to learn, to experience, to get prepared, and you haven't even raised your sails yet. But after today, you're going to get that chance. After today, you're going to be able to become what you have desired, what you have committed to, because nursing school is no joke. The very fact that you're sitting here says that you are committed beyond belief to the care and maintenance of other human beings. This is a role that you should not take lightly. This is a role that you should embrace with honor, cherish it with your life, knowing that you are dedicating your life to service. It's not any service. It is the service of God. You are stepping up to be his hands. You are stepping up to care for his children. God doesn't always just do miracles on his own. And I think if I got the number right today, he's going to be starting to do miracles through 51 of you. Next slide, please. It'll be easy. The verse that you had before you, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. That time is now. Casting all your care upon him, for he hath careth for you. You should not be anxious. If you read the Bible much, you can't go far without seeing or reading the words, do not fear. Do not be anxious. God's got you. He's carried you thus far, and now's the time to lean on him even harder. Now, like me, I started off, sailing clearly wasn't something I excelled at. Next slide, please. But I didn't give up. And some of these photos are from really just 2 months ago. And about a year and a half ago, when I drugged my wife sailing with me, I chose not to put the picture of her holding on to the port winch like her life depended on it. But you can see there in the bottom right-hand corner, my new first mate, which is my son. I have 2 of them that I drag on sailing trips when they'll appease me. But I didn't stay with the Ghost 13 for much longer. I committed to what I wanted to accomplish. I took some more courses, and now I have sailed 3 of the 4 Great Lakes, and I'm on for the next summer. Little does my wife know that then I've got to do the 7 seas. This past, about 2 months ago, we sailed for 7 days in Lake Michigan and Lake Huron. We crossed, I guess I'm saying it's 4 out of 5 of the Great Lakes. I ought to be able to count, shouldn't I? It's a helpful thing when you're a CNO. But it was an awesome trip. And it came to the culmination of me in about the middle of that through that 7 days. I had 2 novice or non-existent educated sailors with me, my father-in-law and my uncle-in-law, that I was in the middle and sailing over 600 feet of water, deep, that I have arrived. I am now truly a sailor. And after today, you are truly going to be a nurse. I applaud you. I am proud of you. And in a few minutes, I'll have the honor to call you colleague in the greatest profession that you can ever expect, and the one that has given me more than anything else in my life. Congratulations. I'm done with the speech now, so you can rest easy. I did not stay on till noon. The second part of my time up here is to award the Call to Care Award. This award is to give it to someone within your class that has provided exceptional care, who cares for the whole person, does so in a manner of compassion, respect, and integrity, has risen to the ideals of the sacred calling of nursing and extending the healing ministry of Christ. They communicate clearly, they're adaptable and resourceful, and they incorporate honesty in all that they do. This award is awarded by Kettering Health. I've had the opportunity to give out many of these awards. I'm always impressed. I'm always honored. And today, Ariana Shoemaker, come on up.
When starting our nursing school journey, I'm sure we were all looking at the years ahead of us and thinking, this is going to take forever. There were plenty of times between then and now when it felt like a semester or even a week was never going to end. Yet here we are at the end of our program, looking back at some of the fastest paced years of our entire lives. Our cohort has experienced quite the journey, given that we decided to start nursing right before a pandemic hit. We've been forced to learn to provide for these patients in a holistic manner without even being able to show the bottom half of our face. However, I believe that this fact alone shows how extraordinary we are as future nurses. No matter how many times we questioned if we were really cut out for this, we kept our heads up, masks on, and powered through. I could stand here for hours and praise each of you for the work we've put in over the last few years.
With that being said, we all know there was absolutely no way we could have made it through without the support of those around us. First, I have to thank God for calling us to such an amazing program with amazing people. He supported us unconditionally as we learned to be his hands and feet in the field. To our families and friends, we owe you much more than a thank you, but that's what I have to offer for now. You've been there with us through every test, assignment, arrival home after a long clinical shift, and even the breakdowns when we let the stress get the best of us. But you were also there during every triumph, when we finally got the grade we'd studied so hard for, to remind us how much we deserved every bit of praise we got. Thank you for holding us up when we couldn't do it for ourselves. Whether or not we all admit it, we owe a special thanks to our beloved pets who had no choice but to be forced to listen as we recite info for an exam. At this point, they probably all deserve an honorary BSN. It's also important to thank the amazing staff here at the college, not only our professors, but the support staff as well. Just as hard as it was for us to learn during a pandemic, you all had to drastically change everything you'd ever known to instruct us. We know we can be a bit headstrong as a united group and sometimes make you want to pull out every last hair when we just aren't getting something. But no matter what questions or challenges we threw your way, you provided us with so much knowledge that's allowing us to confidently launch into our careers. So thank you. Though each of our instructors worked so incredibly hard to provide us with such a solid start into a rewarding career, our cohort remembered one professor in particular who was incredibly selfless in a time when she didn't need to be. Professor Ashley Barnett was instructing us last summer in maternal newborn studies, all while enduring a combination of excruciating events in her personal life. Even when finding herself in a valley where it might have seemed like it was one thing after the other, she continued to give her all to her students and patients. In a time when most would have stepped back for their own healing, she showed up each and every day and provided us with an excellent knowledge set on a specialty that many of us fell in love with. We're forever grateful for not only the information we were taught, but also the selfless role model we had to guide us through and continue to hold us up even after the course. We wanted to give a special acknowledgement to the clinical instructors we've been lucky enough to have over the last few years. You woke up so incredibly early to drive to each facility and help guide us through clinical days, whether we were fundamental students running around like chickens with our heads cut off, or senior students precepting on our dream units, taking on the full responsibility of each patient. These people dealt firsthand with our interpersonal clashes as a difficult patient made us consider other career opportunities. Each time, they reeled us back in, reminding us that for every hard day, there are 20 great ones. And that was true. We were able to take care of so many amazing patients, willing or not on their part, that left a lasting impact on our practice in one way or another. Lastly, I think we can thank each other for getting to this point. I was lucky enough to meet some of the most amazing people while attending Kettering College and consider them truly lifelong friends. Between study sessions, celebratory dinners, or even random meetups just to take a break from the stress of nursing school, these people have been responsible for keeping us stable over the last few years. The memories made in those classrooms, on clinical floors, and even on Zoom are ones we'll never forget. No one understands what we're going through quite like our classmates. As a cohort, we've been able to pull each other up for air when it felt like we were drowning. Without each of you, this nursing journey would not have been nearly the same. Thank you for walking along this difficult path together. On behalf of our class, allow me again to extend my gratitude and appreciation to every single person who had a hand in getting us to this day. Fellow graduates, thank you for your companionship and congratulations on all of your ventures.
Now for the pinning. The pin was designed by a member of the very first class that graduated in 1969. Jeannie McCoy Spratt was an artist before she decided she needed to become a nurse. And she, of course, was the person that her class turned to design the pin. And the pin wasn't just important to the school, it was also important to artists because it received an award for being one of the best pins designed of that year. The nursing pin has the caduceus, which represents medicine. It has an open book representing the Bible, and it has the world representing the place where we serve. So as you receive your pin, graduates, please notice that it comes with a strong tradition and reinforces our faith and our beliefs that we've taught you here during your years at Kettering College. Sahar Al-Nabali and Anthony Kramer. Sahar wants to work for a few years of experience as an RN and then continue her education to obtain a master's degree in nursing and work as a nurse practitioner. She also, while moving through her clinical rotations, discovered that she appreciated the psychiatric and mental health nursing and would like to consider working in that field after graduation. Anthony says that he wishes to have employment in emergency or flight nursing in his future. Madison Turbin, Rachel Deitner. Madison plans to work in Kettering's NICU after graduation with the intent to go back and become a nurse practitioner after she has some experience under her belt. She wishes to thank everyone who supported her to get here, especially the people who cared for her 2 young children so that she could pursue this degree. Rachel plans to work at the Kettering Miamisburg Emergency Department. Alyssa Dillman, Gina Oshurto Mulkey. Alyssa is excited to start her nursing career in the intensive care unit at Kettering Health Miamisburg, where she has accepted a position. She would also like to thank her family for all of their love and support, as well as Professor Hopkins for her support and teaching her so much. Gina looks forward to establishing her career as an RN with the goal to progress to leadership roles such as charge nurse and/or preceptor. She plans to continue as either an NP or a CRNA. She has accepted a position in the intensive care unit. Marcos Urado, Lorna Smith. Marcos hopes to work at Sycamore Hospital's step-down ICU on the night shift, and he is thrilled to say that his family has traveled all the way from Chile to see him graduate today. Lorna has many interests in the field of nursing, including hospice care, wound care, PIC nursing. After gaining some experience and skills, she plans to obtain a master's and then consider teaching. Dustin Forrest Abner, Caitlin Evans. Dustin plans to work as a nurse at his current place of employment on the Pediatric Hematology Oncology Unit at Dayton Children's Hospital. In the future, Dustin would like to work as a clinical team leader and administrator for the Hematology Oncology Unit. Caitlin wants to pursue a career in labor and delivery and further develop her nursing skills. She's considering the possibility of continuing her education with a master's degree. Abigail Grace Baker, Mallory Evans. Abigail plans to use her nursing degree to minister and take care of cancer patients. Her future goals include becoming an oncology nurse and working in an outpatient infusion center. Mallory has accepted a job at Dayton Children's on the 3 West unit. Caitlin Beechler, Sierra Macy Grimes. Caitlin has accepted a position as a registered nurse working at Kettering's Labor and Delivery Unit. She wishes to thank her family, specifically Colt, Jordan, and Amanda, for all of their support. Sierra will be working on the coronary care unit at Kettering main campus after graduation. Grant Boggs, Abby Heinrihar. Grant plans to work on the intensive care unit for a couple of years and then go back to school with hopes of earning his doctoral degree. Abby has accepted a job offer and will be working as a cardiac nurse on 3 East at Kettering, Maine. Michaela Elizabeth Dalrymple. Michaela plans to specialize as an NICU nurse and hopefully return to school to achieve her master's degree. She wishes to thank her family and friends for surviving with her through nursing school, especially her twin sister Miranda, who was able to answer any question or concern that she had throughout many years and felt like they were never going to end. Laura Davis, Ornella Fankum. Laura reports that she wants to continue her education in trauma service by becoming TNCC certified and working in the emergency department. She wishes to thank her family, friends, and professors who have supported her along the way. Ornella has accepted a position to work as a mother-baby nurse on the postpartum floor and plans to return to school to further her studies. She wishes to thank her parents for sacrificing so much so she could pursue her education across the country during a pandemic. And most important, she wishes to thank God for getting her to this point. Paige Cannon, Amber Renee Malone. Paige has accepted a position on 3 East as a cardiac nurse. Amber plans to work in pediatrics following graduation and will continue her education in the hope of eventually becoming a nurse educator and fostering the learning of future nurses for years to come. She would like to thank her family and friends for all of the unconditional support over the last few years, as online nursing school was not easy for everyone involved. She also wants to give a special thanks to the amazing group of friends she met here at Kettering who kept each other going during even the most trying times. Ashley Dunsel, Solange Zamarera. Ashley has accepted a job to work as a cardiac nurse on 3 East and loves learning all about the heart. She also hopes to go into oncology nursing during the future. Solange's future goal is to work with Mother Baby and gain experience before pursuing her further education concerning women and children's health. Furthermore, she plans to join medical mission and volunteer abroad. She says nursing semesters were not easy in her role as both mom and wife, and she wants to thank God for guiding her through this, and special thanks to her husband and family and friends for their continuous support. She could not have succeeded without you. Tammy Feeney, Emma Smith. Tammy plans to increase and strengthen her nursing skills and work with the elderly and pursue a career in hospice. She wants to thank her husband and daughter for supporting her through this journey. Emma, after graduation, will be working as a pediatric nurse at Dayton Children's Hospital. Chase Hayden, Yasmin Lopez Valdez. Chase plans to work in the ICU at Kettering for at least 3 years. He wants to thank his family and friends for helping and supporting him through this part of his life. Yasmin plans to move to New York City, where she will become a cardiac ICU nurse and continue to grow in her field. She eventually wants to get a master's degree in nursing, but would like experience first. She hopes to be the best nurse that she can ever be and to never lose sight of what is important. Caitlin Hulsman, Cheyenne Sky McDaniel Jackson. Caitlin is looking for a job in the emergency department and for the endless possibilities that nursing can offer. She would like to thank her wonderful parents, family, and friends for all of their love and support. Cheyenne will be working in the emergency department at Soin Medical Center with the goal of becoming an NP in emergency medicine. She wants to thank her husband and family for the long nights and all the support along the way. Marissa Job, Brenea Sunaya Lewis. Marissa will be working on the cardiothoracic step-down unit at Kettering. Her future plans and goals for her professional life will be to become a travel nurse and care for those around the country. She wishes to thank her family for continually supporting her, but most of all, her father for everything that he's done to help her along the way. Brenea plans to go back to school to get her master's in American Sign Language and Spanish. Ariana Shoemaker, Kelly McDonough. Ariana has accepted a job to work on the labor and delivery unit at Soin Medical Center. She would like to thank her family, friends, and the faculty for being there to support and encourage her throughout nursing school. She couldn't have done it without you. Kelly has secured a career at Kettering Dayton as an OR nurse. In the future, she plans to become a labor and delivery nurse with hopes of pursuing a career as a midwife within the Kettering network. She would also like to thank her family and friends for the continuous support that she received through this journey. She is forever grateful for each and every one of you and knows that she couldn't have done this without you. Samantha Sikora, Anna Minier. Samantha says that after college, she hopes to work in the emergency department closer to her home in Cincinnati. She would like to thank her parents and the rest of her family and friends for supporting her throughout school this past few years. Anna would like to continue to work as a registered nurse for a few years of experience and then move on by earning her master's degree. She would like to specialize in something such as nurse anesthetist or practitioner, but her mind is still open for what the possibilities bring. Mackenzie Kathleen Zoller and Kirsten Leon Reese. Mackenzie has accepted a position in Intermountain Healthcare in Utah as a float nurse, where she will continue to grow her clinical experience before returning to school for further education. Kirsten plans to work as a trauma nurse immediately after graduation. Down the road, she also wants to continue her education and pursue a master's degree to become a nurse practitioner. Casey Leitner, Catherine Elizabeth Scudder. Casey wishes to work in the CCU, attend perfusionist school in the next few years. Catherine will be working in the SICU at Kettering Hospital, and she wishes to thank family and friends for supporting her. Princess Amanda Sunda and Heidi Renee Seal. Amanda's future goal is to continue pursuing her education and become a nurse practitioner focusing in geriatrics. She wants to thank God for his blessings and her family for their support and motivation throughout this journey. She wants to thank her professors for all the knowledge they have passed on to her. Heidi plans to work in the OR and continue her education to receive a master's degree. Zachary Vance, Mackenzie Lynn Wasson. I often paraphrase these, but I'm going to read Zach's exact words. He said, "The lovely young woman who is pinning Mr. Vance is no other than his lovely wife, Catherine Vance. She has been a nurse for 3 years, and to quote Zach, God made a special person when he placed Catherine into this world, and she bears the title of nurse with great grace, courage, and honor." Naturally, he will be moving back to his home state of Alabama, and he believes that Med-Surg is a great place for him to start with broad experience. Mackenzie plans her nursing career to start in the NICU, and then she hopes to become a neonatal nurse practitioner. She wants to give a shout out to her parents who have supported her without question through these years, and also another special thanks to the rest of her family, friends, and nursing instructors here at Kettering. Molly Walden, Taylor Williams. Molly has accepted a position in the surgical ICU at Kettering Health Main Campus. She is excited to start her career and say where it will take her. She would like to thank family, parents, siblings, and grandparents for their support, along with her husband Colby for being her biggest supporter. Taylor Williams was very excited yesterday to report that she now has a job at Southview in Mother Baby and plans to stay on the maternity unit and would like to one day focus on NICU. She wants to thank her family and friends and for all the support they've given her through this journey, and a special thanks to her mom, who was always there and helped her study, even when she didn't want to. Emily Whalen, Shannon Nicole Lindsay. Emily plans to become a labor and delivery nurse within the Kettering Health Network, and she wants to influence the lives of the patients she works with through empathy and support during the trying times in their life. Shannon has accepted a position on the mother-baby unit at Kettering and plans to continue her education in nursing and linguistics while developing her skills as a holistic healthcare provider. One day she hopes to hold a role as an educator to women. She also plans to care for children and infants in the healthcare setting and seek opportunities in the community through recreational and select soccer to provide holistic care. Kyle Marie Miller, Camilla Barantes. Kyle plans to work on the Neurology Medical Surg Unit at Kettering's main campus after graduation, and she hopes to grow and develop her clinical skills while deciding her long-term career goals. She would like to thank family and her husband for the support they have given during her academic journey. She considers herself incredibly blessed to have such an amazing support system. Camilla plans to be a nurse missionary.
have a reflection of the time that I've spent from the RN to the BSN program. I came to Kettering College already having a nursing license and working for Kettering Network. Kettering Health Network has really helped me in so many ways. I had bosses that were very supportive of me going and receiving my BSN, earning that along the way. They were very understanding if there was something special happening at school that I had to attend, or I had a special meeting of some type, but also I gave it my all, the commitment and the journey therein. I have listened to many of our new graduates and what they plan to do in the future. I would also add, take advantage of those opportunities that come along the way. They can be quite the surprise. For me, I had just started my BSN program when the unit that I had signed on to work shut down, orthopedics, due to COVID-19. Suddenly, I was rotating throughout the hospital, different units that needed help. This to me was a little bit scary. I had not had that experience like many other nurses before. You take a job at a unit and that's where you're gonna work. But I learned that this was a terrific opportunity for me as I was going through my BSN program to have this exposure to the many units therein in the network. I'm very grateful to God that He put me in that situation. I am also grateful that I had a great partner through the entire situation. Greg could understand sometimes why I didn't have a lot of time to talk or I couldn't do things because I had to study. And for that, I am very grateful. He would pack my lunch every day. I would go to the hospital, and then I'd come straight home after work and study. This has been a great journey, and I'm so proud of my entire class. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Professor Lisa Huber, and I'm the chair of the RN to BSN program. As you've just heard, there are different paths that anybody can take to earn a bachelor's degree at Kettering College. The students receiving their PIN next follow the path of earning their associate degree or their diploma and their license in nursing first. Then they chose to gather nursing experience by working as a registered nurse while coming back to school and completing a vigorous baccalaureate completion degree online at the same time, as you've just heard. I might imagine that there have been several times, Susie, this evening that you have been grateful that you have already passed your licensure exam and do not have to go through that experience again, right? First, we thank you for choosing Kettering College, and we are proud to celebrate the graduation of 6 registered nurses who have earned their online bachelor's degree in the last 6 months. We're happy that you have come to join us in person and so that we can publicly celebrate your achievement. I also want to send out a great thank you and congratulations to those of you who might be watching online, and I hope you celebrate as well. Look for your PIN to come in the snail mail. On behalf of the faculty and staff at Kettering College, and especially the Division of Nursing, I say a hearty congratulations. Please come forward as your name is called. Deborah Susie Strider. Susie is going to be working on her master's in nursing next year, and from talking with her, she is actually going to be doing a dual master's. So she wants to encourage everyone, even people in their 60s, to continue, if at all possible, their education in something they enjoy and something they have an interest in. Being productive in our society is so rewarding in many ways, and age is only a number. Congratulations to all of our graduates.
If I could please have you all stand for a word of prayer. Our kind and most precious Father, thank you so much for today. God, you know how much it's taken for us to get here. God, we just want to take this moment to acknowledge the professors that have poured into us, our families that have given of their time financially, emotionally, just so we could get to this point. God, I ask a special prayer for each graduate here. As we go into the world of nursing and medicine, I ask that we be your hands and feet. Continue to bless us. And thank you for everything you continue to do for us. I pray this all in your name. Amen. If the audience could please sit, that'd be great. Thank you.